Welcome, everyone. This morning, our presenter is Michael Francis Devine, and he's going to talk to us about a beginner's guide to Wakelet.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Really nice to be joining you today. I'm in Manchester in the United Kingdom right now, so I'm on the complete other side of the world, but it's really nice to connect with you all and share a little bit about Wakelet and how easy it is to get started on the platform, share a few ideas, share a few resources, tell you a little bit about the Wakelet community that we have as well, which is a great way to get even more involved and connect with other educators, not only in the US, but all over the world. So looking forward to giving you a bit more information on that. But yeah, let me know whenever you're ready for me to get started.
Michael, you could just go right ahead.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Well, like you say, my name is Michael. I'm on the growth team at Wakelet. I work in the marketing side of things, which is essentially looking to share Wakelet with as many educators around the world. Our main community base is in the United States, and we're always really excited to meet educators that are based in the States, even though we're in the UK, where we try and stay connected as much as possible and showcase how Wakelet can be really powerful for teachers. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Wakelet in the past. You may have heard of it, but it never really got started with the platform. You might know someone that's using it, but never really played around with it yourself. So I want to showcase how easy it is to do exactly that and to get started. I see Julia says that you've heard of it but never used it. Anna used it a few years ago. So we've actually made quite a few updates to the platform in the last year, especially. We've really taken on board a lot of the feedback and questions that we've gotten from our community and implemented them into the platform. So if you used it a few years ago, I would actually say it's likely to be quite different now. The function is the same, as I'll show you, but it looks a lot slicker and it works a lot quicker as well. So hopefully today will be a good inspiration to jump right back in. But I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So we should be able to see these slides now. I'll just move these real quick. Okay, great. So hello and welcome to the beginner's guide. We often refer to it as a bit of a masterclass, this particular presentation, but it is essentially a beginner's guide. So to those who have never heard of Wakelet, I want to just quickly run through what it is. So Wakelet is a free platform that allows you and your students to save, organize, present, and share content from all across the web. Wakelet makes sharing content fun and engaging, so we often like to showcase where the idea actually came from with Wakelet. So you can see on the left-hand side here is an email, a little bit of text, a bunch of links, a couple of images. It's not very engaging, it's not very visual. Of course, we're familiar with the format, but it's quite dull. So this is what a Wakelet collection looks like with the exact same content. So you can see that it becomes more engaging and visual and more organized as well. So it's the exact same stuff, but you can imagine if you're looking to share materials with your team or with your students, this is a lot more accessible and engaging. So that's where the idea originally came from. The founder of Wakelet was sending a lot of these kind of emails and found that it just wasn't very easy for his recipients to kind of engage with that content. So just a few key points. Wakelet is free. So if you are looking to get started on Wakelet, you can for free. We won't ask you to subscribe to anything after a couple of collections being created. We want to make sure that the teacher that's using it on a day-to-day basis doesn't have to pay for it. It's unlimited. So like I said, there isn't a cap for the amount of collections that you can create. You can create as many as you like. And it's also safe. So of course, we are very adamant that the platform should be used by everybody and that teachers and educators should have peace of mind, especially when using it with their students. So I'll go through the four main steps or the four main features of Wakelet. So with Wakelet, you're able to save any content from the web. So that's articles, videos, blogs, tweets, documents, podcasts. You're able to bookmark all of it and put it all into one collection. So you can then organize that content. So as you can see on the right-hand side, this is what a collection looks like. You have the cover image, the title, description, a few pieces of content. And then when you do save that different types of materials from across the web into that collection, restructure it, make it look like how you want it to look, you're able to supplement that content, like you can see, with other images, with videos, other materials, move it all around, structure it how you want. And then it's really easy to then bring other people into the collection as well. So if you're creating something on your own, of course, it can be really powerful. But if you want to invite others to collaborate with you inside that collection, it's really easy to do that as well. So an example of a collaborative collection could be a group research project. And that can happen inside a collection, or it can happen inside what we call a space, which is essentially multiple collections moving around, multiple people creating something together as a team. And you're then able to present that content. So as you'll see, and as you can see here, the collections and the items within are very visual. It kind of jumps out at the viewer. So it's great for presenting content, but it's also great for sharing content. A lot of the time we see educators using Wakelet to gather all of their resources and materials and then share it with their tech coach team, with their teachers, with their students, with parents in the community. It's really easy to get all the important stuff and just distribute it out all with one link. So that's the basic functionality. We've actually seen a lot of creativity from educators in terms of how they actually take advantage of that functionality. So Wakelet allows you and teachers to transform your learning materials and resources into engaging interactive collections that you can then share with your community. That's just essentially a summary of what I've been through, but creative ways of adding a structure to it is using it for newsletters, interactive lessons, simply collecting resources, documenting PD. So, of course, attending a virtual conference, or if you're going to be attending a in-person conference, Wakelet's great for just making sure you don't forget anything. You can get, different tools and different links and resources. You can, as you go with the mobile app or on your laptop or tablet, make sure it all goes into that collection. The example I'm going to demonstrate is going to be some kind of a lesson plan. But then, as I mentioned before, you can use it for group research projects with your PLN or your class. So just a quick top tip is to download the Wakelet browser extension. So it's really easy to apply to Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. It enables you to, while you are surfing the web and finding materials, finding resources, social media posts, YouTube videos, it's simply just hitting a button and it'll go into that collection without you having to go back and forth, which is arguably the easiest way to do it. So before I go through a couple of student ideas or how that works, I'm going to jump into an actual collection and create one from scratch. If you would like to do it alongside me, feel free. Of course, like I said, it's completely free to sign up for these accounts or to sign up to Wakelet, and you can do it with single sign-on. So feel free to do that as we go along. But essentially, I want to just showcase how easy it is to create something within a few minutes. So this is what Wakelet looks like. Mine is already populated with a lot of collections to the point where I should probably clean some of them out. But this is what a collection looks like in that home area page. Yours will be completely blank when you first sign up. If you are looking for inspiration, I'll go through a couple of templates as well, so you can use them to get started. But essentially, I'll just go in and hit create a collection. So I'm going to create a lesson plan today on a subject, of course, I'm not trained in, but it's just a pretty, an overview of what it actually looks like to create something. So I'll just go through. Let's make that up. That's a title, add a description. So I'm imagining that I'm going to be sharing this collection or even presenting this collection inside a classroom that the students can all access and engage with the materials, and take it home with them, work on it throughout a week, whatever. So that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go up here and hit design. And then you can see that there's a number of layout options that you can choose from, including media, compact, grid view, mood board, and then there's a columns view as well, which is essentially like a Kanban board. The bottom two, like mood board and the columns view, is primarily useful for collaborative activities. I'm going to keep it with the media view for now, but I'm going to add a cover image. So I'll just hit select image, and you can see that there's a number of different options for choosing a cover image. You can upload it from your device. We have an integration with Canva, so some of you may use Canva in your district. So we've got an integration with them that allows you to jump into Canva and create something and add it to your collection without actually having to leave Wakelet at all. We have an integration with Giphy and also an integration with Unsplash, but I'm going to just quickly showcase the Canva integration that we have here, because I'm pretty sure there's a convenient, yes, template that will nicely showcase how it works. So I'll hit publish on that. Just give it a moment. And you can see that that now is the cover image of the Wakelet collection. So you can actually reduce the size of it if you'd like. You don't have to have a cover image, but I'm going to keep it full for now.
Michael, there's a question in the chat. Does this interface with Google Classroom?
It does, exactly. Yes. So we have a number of integrations with Google Classroom. The primary one being we're able to share, or you're able to embed these collections inside Google Classroom. So if you're using Google Classroom with your district, you're able to, and I'll showcase this in a bit more detail, but essentially just hit the Google Classroom button inside this collection, and it will appear in that Google Classroom area, and all the content will look the same, but will all be interactable as well. So if there's videos, text, whatever it is, it's all right there for everyone to look at inside Google Classroom. But you're also able to import students. If you are looking to share directly with students on Wakelet and want your students to create their own collections, you're actually able to link Wakelet up with Google Classroom so that they have that private environment for them to create and share their own collections like that as well. So there are primary functions when it comes to our integration with Google Classroom. Okay. So now that we have our cover image, I'm going to make it even more visual and just add a background image. I'm going to go into Unsplash here and just go into climate. There are thousands of a library of images that are copyright-free images that you can select, and they'll go straight into your collection like that. So you can see here immediately it's very visual. It looks like a website, but it's completely very much easier to create this for yourselves and for students as well. So this is where you can add a multitude of different types of content and materials. So I'm going to go and find a website to showcase how easy, oh, didn't spell that right, how easy it is to add a link. So I'll just copy this URL, head back to my collection, go here and paste it in. And this is what a link looks like inside a Wakelet collection. So going back to that original email, or even just sending a list of blue URLs, expecting people to be able to explore them and understand it and not miss anything, it's quite difficult. Whereas if the link appears in a collection like this, it's much more visual, much more engaging. You can actually edit how it appears as well. So if you do want to change the text, you can change the image. I'm going to keep it as it is for now, but you can see that it adds a little bit more context, a little bit more of your personality inside that as well. So that's what a link looks like. Like I said, there's there's no limit to the number of links that you can add to these collections, and it's really easy to do so. Next, I'm going to showcase how you can add text. So I'm going to add a heading here. You can also add emojis. Just put it central. Oh, but you can add headings, add more text, and really take ownership of the content that you're sharing. So if you are adding links, if you're looking to add videos and images, you can add sections essentially and contextualize the content that you are sharing with text. There's no limit to the amount of text you can add. There's no character limit. So just to showcase what it looks like with a little bit more text, I'm just going to copy this, go down here, hit the text box and paste. So you can see how the collection is beginning to come together with different types of content. So now that we have a bit of text and we have a link, and you are looking to make it even more engaging, we have the same image upload function inside the collection as we do with the cover image. So you can upload an image, design something with Canva, or you can explore Giphy. So I'm just going to grab a GIF. Naturally, students and well, everyone in today's world Giphy is a natural thing to be to add to a conversation, to an interaction. So adding this to a lesson plan, to a collection, we'll add that little bit of flavor, especially when students are creating them themselves. It's a great way of showcasing personality and having a little bit of fun with the materials. So if it is, relatively dull materials as an alternative way of sharing them, this really does allow you to showcase it in a fun and engaging format. So add as many images as you like. You can choose from your bookmarks. So I showcased the browser extension that you can add to your browser. If you want to access everything that you're saving, you just hit on that bookmarks area. You can upload a PDF. So if you are looking to share multiple PDFs inside a collection or add even more context to the materials, you can use that option. But we also have a few different integrations that we can use. So I'm not sure if you use Twitter, but if you are looking to showcase a project, or if a student is doing research into climate change and is looking for key tweets from key voices, you're able to search Twitter here as well. So I'll just find something to showcase how it looks. I'm just going to grab one of these. You can grab multiple. You can grab all of them in one go, even though these are slightly random. If you give it a moment, this is how the tweet will appear. So, of course, maybe some people on the webinar, you participate in Twitter chats. If you're looking to gather what your findings are, what the thoughts, what the key ideas are from tweets, you're able to add them all into this collection. If you don't want your students to access Twitter, you can also block the app. You have full control if you are looking to use it with students and you don't want them to be able to access Twitter. There is a way of blocking it as well. So the full control is in the educator's hands when it comes to Wakelet. We also have an integration with Flip. This will take you to Flip. So if you are looking to add a self-recorded video, you're able to use that integration and it will appear on Wakelet. My favorite integration personally is our integration with YouTube. So you're able to search YouTube and access YouTube from within Wakelet, gather the videos, and they'll appear very visually and they'll all play in line. So just to showcase, I'll just grab a video here, or I'll grab a couple, add them in, and just like that, they'll appear in the Wakelet collection. And then, like I mentioned, they'll play in line. And the key thing about this is that they'll play ad-free as well. So if you are sharing video content with students and don't want them to be distracted by add content. With our YouTube integration, the video will play, but there won't be any ads appearing for the viewer. So you can see that it's coming together now. We've got different types of content and a comprehensive overview of a subject. Is there any questions at the moment with regard to how to add different types of materials and different types of content? Or are we good? Okay, I'll continue. So we also have integration with Google Drive, OneDrive, and Adobe Express. So if these are tools that you are using in your workflow, it's really easy to jump into these separate tools and add the content from there straight into your collection without having to leave Wakelet. So just to showcase the settings tool, you're able to copy this collection. So if you want to create a duplicate, so you're able to do that. You're able to move the collection to different spaces so that if you are looking to create a space about your geography resources and also a space about your tech coach resources or a space about student resources, you're able to select where that collection lives, or you're able to export it as a PDF, and you're also able to allow the copying of the collection. So if you want to, have this collection for yourself, but you also want your teachers or your students to be able to copy this collection into their Wakelet homepage, they are then able to edit their collection, take ownership without any change happening to the original. So that's how you do that.
Michael, in the chat, there is a question about how did you create the front page of the collection?
Sure. So I'm guessing the front page, meaning the top part. Yes. So all of this exists within this little paintbrush option. So once you do hit that, you're able to change the layout. So I'll hit grid view just to show how that looks. Like so. Or columns. Obviously, they'll all be on this column for now. Mood board is kind of like a collage. Like I said earlier, that it's great for collaboration. And if you're looking to crowdsource resources, if you're working on a team if you say to your class, everyone find climate change resources and we'll all explore them together, it all happens or it all updates in real time. So everyone can jump in and add their own items of content. Compact reduces all of it. So if you're looking to share a lot of content, this can often look better, but I'll keep it with media view. But when it comes to the visual elements and the cover image, you're able to access different ways of adding images. So you can upload from your device. I used Canva for this one. You're able to add a GIF, or you're able to access our free library of Unsplash images. Okay, and then same with the background image as well. You don't have to add any of this, but I like to with my collections just because it does give it that visual element, and it's similar to creating a website or Wakelet is often really powerful for portfolios. And I believe my colleague Amy is going to be showcasing how Wakelet specifically used for portfolios in the next session. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. But in terms of getting started, this is how it works. Next, I want to show how you can share these collections. So do you want to allow sharing or do you want to keep it private? Of course, that option is very much up to you. But just to allow sharing, you are then able to access these items. You can publish this collection to your profile. So to take it that step further when it comes to a website or a portfolio, the profile is essentially a selection of your published collections. So if you are looking to share that page with your team, with parents, you can have multiple collections all housed in this space, which is, it looks very good. It's categorized into sections. So that's a great way of showcasing multiple collections on a public basis. But in terms of sharing a collection individually, you can simply copy the link and you can see that it's copied to the clipboard. And then if you're sharing it you know, in a web, in an email or a messaging app, simply paste the link, and then it'll bring you or bring your recipients of that link to this collection. You can share it in a QR code. I think this is really popular for when you are sharing the collection at the top of a classroom and you have it on the digital board. If you have that QR code displayed, every student is able to use their device to scan that QR code and then jump straight into that collection. So you can expand it just so that it's really accessible for everybody. Oh, whoops, I'm too far. You're able to embed that. So I know we spoke about Google Classroom, but let's say you're using an LMS in your district, like Canvas, for example. You're able to access the embed code. So you can copy that. You can actually change how it looks within here, but essentially you're then able to embed that code into the LMS or into the HTML, and then the collection is fully interactable with within that space. And then we have the integration with Google Classroom. So if I was to hit onto this, or you know, if you're using Microsoft in your district, you're able to immediately embed this collection into that LMS, and then it will appear the same way, and everyone that's accessing the materials can not only look at it, but also interact with the YouTube videos, interact with all of the materials, all in that LMS. So if that's how you want to share the content, you can do it like that. And then just to quickly showcase how you can invite collaborators to your collection. So if you are looking to, you've created this collection and you want to share it with your students, but first you want to get a few thoughts or a few additional types of content added by your colleagues and by teachers. It's the same way, really. You copy the link, and then once they once your colleague gets that link, they will jump onto this collection and will be able to add and edit items. If you are sharing the collection and don't want people to collaborate, you hit this code up here, but for collaboration, it's this one. We also have a join code option. So if you are to hit this code and share this code essentially with your students can actually type this code in on the Wakelet homepage and join as collaborators without having to set up Wakelet accounts. So if you don't want, you know, to ask your entire class to create their own Wakelet accounts, but want them to quickly get involved in a collaborative exercise, you can share this code with them. And then you'll see on that Wakelet home area, or when you type in wakelet.com and you don't set up an account, there is an option to join a collection or enter a code, and you're able, and this is where you can access that code. And it's the same with Google Classroom and Microsoft. And then just to kind of give an overview of that, what kind of permissions the collaborators have once they are inside that collection. You don't necessarily have to give them full editing rights. You can give them the option to add items, but make sure that they don't delete items. So you do have that administrator and contributor role within a collaborative collection. So your teachers or colleagues are potentially the administrators alongside you. Whereas if you want students to get involved, they can only add items, that not necessarily are able to delete items as well. You can also invite collaborators with email or Wakelet username too. But that's very quickly how to share the collection. But it's all within this share button here. You can't miss it really once you are looking to share that material. Okay, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask before I jump on to the next bit. What I can do is, and then you can see that that's where it lives. That's where it will appear. But I'll just go to my public profile, like I mentioned earlier. So you have your home area where your collections are kind of, you know, they're private. You can view them, you can edit them, you can invite collaborators to them. But the collections that you want to showcase to the world, you're able to publish them to your public profile. And with this public profile, you can add a cover image, profile image. I've got my handle, I've got an overview of what I do, and then you can link to Twitter as well. We have followers, so that if you want to kind of keep up to date with teachers that are in similar roles or teachers that you find inspiring, You're able to follow their Wakelet accounts and then explore what their public collections are. It's a really great way of finding different types of collections or finding inspiration. So this is what my profile looks like. It's more personal. I've got a professional one as well that kind of I utilize primarily for research and project work. But for here, it's just an overview of my hobbies. You can see that you can jump to different sections as displayed on the left-hand side. But this is what a public profile looks like. So imagine a student is creating a collection on their extracurricular activities, their gym work, their geography class, whatever it is. They're able to showcase that learning journey inside Wakelet, inside these collections. And if they're then able to publish those collections onto their public profile and include that into a college application or include it in a job application, or if they're doing any kind of work experience, you can begin to see how easy it is to curate that learning process, add it into that really visual place, and then really easily distribute that to everyone that they want to see their work and their hobbies and talents. But Amy will go through that in a bit more detail in the portfolio overview. It is our main use for Wakelet, but that's not to disregard how frequently Wakelet is being used when it comes to simply creating a list of resources and materials to share, or also use it for lesson plans, group work. There really is no end. But just to kind of bring it back to this beginner's guide context, I think the first thing that I'd recommend you trying it out for is just adding a bunch of materials for your upcoming the new year planning or different classes or different resources you want to share with your team. It's really easy to throw something together really quickly for that.
Michael, in the chat, there's a question. Is there a limit on accounts per class?
There is not. No, there is no limit. So you can add as many students as you like. And then each student can create as many collections as they like. They can add as many items of content, videos to these collections. There's literally no limit. You might ask, how is that the case? How can there be no limit from a company perspective for Wakelet? Just to mention, there is a district package available for Wakelet, which offers this same functionality with some additional features, and that will include analytics, a dashboard, like an overview of how students are using it, how the tech coaches and teachers are using it, how much it is being used, etc. However, for the teacher that's looking to make the most of Wakelet on a free basis, this is what they have, and there's no limit to the amount of collections that they can create. Okay, on the topic of student usage, I'm just going to jump back here, and hopefully you have a sense of how tech coaches, how teachers can use the platform, but Wakelet's really powerful for student usage as well. So students of any age can use Wakelet. So this is, we've really focused on the ability for students to enhance their 21st century digital skills. So obviously the 5 C's are a bit of a buzz term, but broadly, it's just a way for students to showcase their work. And I was having a conversation with a teacher not too long ago, and they were saying how Wakelet's good for that whole journey, for a semester long or term long journey. The student's able to start documenting their learning at the beginning and continue adding, building out this collection, building out this, multiple collections of resources. And then at the end, if you are looking to present the learning or showcase the learning, Wakelet's really powerful for that. So students can continue that learning journey with Wakelet, not only across the semester, but across their entire school career. And then hopefully after their school career and they go into college or they go into the world of work, Wakelet can still help, and they'll obviously be well versed in the functionality of the platform by then, and can use it for their portfolio or how I use it for project work, etc. So Wakelet can be that long-term tool. So educators can import classes onto Wakelet. So this is essentially an ability to create safe and secure accounts for their students, and it's all in the control of the teachers. So educators have full transparency to what the student is creating, and only the educator can view that profile. So all of the student work is completely private. It's literally impossible for the student to share that anywhere. Obviously, the parent can have access, on that device, and we are looking to see if we can add parent access functions. But for now, it's completely closed off. If a student is graduating and wants to take their content with them, we do work with educators to see if we can publish it, but only in the right context. So essentially, it's all completely private. So how can students use Wakelet? So we have assignment submission, classroom discussions, the group research piece, project research, assignments generally, but it is that digital portfolio that really is engaging educators and is engaging students. That's how Wakelet is really becoming powerful within the schools. So that's a few ideas. That's not necessarily all of them, but what I want to do now is just go back to Wakelet, go onto my collections, and this left-hand panel is kind of where you can access different elements or different components of Wakelet. But you can see this classrooms area here. That's where you are able to import your students, and also where you can view the students' work and share collections, share instructions with students. And this is a real point of focus for us at Wakelet. And this classrooms area is getting a lot of updates in the near future, which will add that different level of engagement for not only the educators, but primarily for the students as well. So I'll just hit on classrooms. I don't have any classrooms right now, but just to quickly showcase, if I was to hit create classroom, you can import your classroom directly from Google Classroom, Microsoft, and Clever. If there is an LMS that doesn't appear here that you are using, feel free to get in touch with us at Wakelet. And then we can look into do a more manual upload. But for now, the real automatic importing of students, it's very easy to do this as well. Once you do hit on these tools, you can very quickly import their students, and each of their students will have that account. I think I touched on this briefly earlier, but you can disable certain tools. So these are the main integrations that we have here. And if you want them to be able to access YouTube, but not Twitter or Flip, you can select. You can select the ones that you want them to have access to, and then they'll be able to access that function like I presented in the demo. And then it's just a case of hitting create, and then all of the students will be imported onto Wakelet. And the classroom space is definitely worth playing around with as well, because once you do create a collection and add instructions to it, the students can access that collection and edit it and make it their own without affecting the original. And then in the end of that process, the teacher can look at all of their students' collections and then give feedback. They have a status overview as to where the student is up to in terms of, have they started the exercise, are they ongoing, have they submitted, etc. But like I said, we have some updates coming out very, very soon. So if you do kind of get involved in Wakelet, especially in the community, you'll have access to all that information as it comes. But I just wanted to very quickly showcase what that actually looks like.
Michael, just to go over in the chat, I think you answered it, but there was a question of is Canvas available through Clever? Because I guess they work through Canvas.
Right, that's a good question. Off the top of my head, I don't know, unfortunately. But if you were to get in touch with us either by DMing us on Twitter or contacting support@wakelet.com on email, the team will be able to pull that information and share that with you. But right now, I'm not sure. Okay. And again, if you get in touch and say, I've got these students on Canvas and I want them to have Wakelet accounts, we can have a conversation and see if we can do that for you. Okay, so.
And then Michael, I've got one just that you mentioned PDFs, or you can use those. Well, we have a little extension called Kami, K-A-M-I, that allows you to write and edit in there. So then anything that works on that first layer would then probably accept the Kami as well, correct?
Right. Yes. So I've heard of Kami. Is it a edit PDFs kind of tool? Is that what it? Right. Yes. So if you access the PDF on Wakelet, then yeah, you are able to edit it with Kami. And if you export your collection into a PDF, if that's how you want to kind of share it, that full PDF and Kami function will be available then as well.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, so just to go back to the collaboration piece, and we definitely talk about collaboration quite a lot at Wakelet. Not only is the nature of the company quite collaborative, but we also are very aware that a school system is also collaborative, especially after a period of remote working and remote learning, and bringing that forward into the modern day education. Collaboration within Wakelet is very versatile and very quick. So not only for educators with their team, but also within a student community. Wakelet's really powerful for crowdsourcing content, providing feedback. Entry and exit tickets is definitely a use case that's come up quite a lot. Attendance, then obviously the group research projects and classroom discussions. We are also quite regularly compared to Padlet. That columns layout is very similar, in terms of kind of being that Kanban board kind of view. And what I would argue, obviously I am biased, that Wakelet offers a little bit more versatility and functionality when it comes to comparisons with Padlet. And of course, the key thing being that Wakelet is free. So just to kind of play devil's advocate and plant that seed, it is definitely a really, really functional collaborative discussion board kind of tool as well. So without wishing to overwhelm with the amount of ways to use Wakelet, this is like a breakdown that we've given in the past of like at different levels of education, and also for personal use, how Wakelet is being used. So for the more, applicable to younger students, we have fun kind of use cases like virtual field trips, roll call, meet the teacher. Parent newsletters is applicable, of course, to any level, but high school then being more functional, I suppose, when it comes to lesson plan, group projects, giving students that kind of a little bit more freedom when it comes to creating something quite sophisticated. It's easy to do that with Wakelet. But you can, we definitely have a cohort of Wakelet, users that are really creative and innovative with how they use the platform. So there is the scope to become a real expert with this tool. But that's not to say that it's also, it is really easy to get started as well. And then just to touch on staff, educators, and perhaps there's a few tech coaches or instructional coaches here, but also for educators and teachers, it's definitely really powerful for a long list there. And then personal use, if you're looking to gather some ideas for recipes for Thanksgiving, which I believe is next week, and also for Christmas, or whatever, if you're looking to get creative with how you use Wakelet. Gift ideas, if you give your kids Wakelet to curate a list of gift ideas, it could get pretty expensive pretty quickly with how easy it is to add ideas, but there's no limit. Like Wakelet was originally not specific for education. It was originally for everything. So if you are looking to create a list of movies, which is something that I do, that I want to watch, put it into a Wakelet collection, revisit it. It's all on the app as well. So if you want to have it in your pocket whenever, you can do that as well. And this is something I'm definitely very excited to share, and that's the community program. I think a large part of Wakelet's identity is presented through our community of educators. So just to give a quick overview, the community is an ecosystem of educators that have come together to use Wakelet in very creative ways, but also have a conversation and to connect. So it's very good for that conversational element and idea finding element, but it's also very good for elevating yourself. So we're very aware that there's challenging times for teachers all over the world, but certainly in the US. And we want to kind of like see how we can support you. So if there's any kind of questions or contacts that you would like to have with the Wakelet team, we have a community team that is very dedicated to being that point of contact and to give opportunities and to look to meet in person. There's no end really to how important the community is for us. So we want to reciprocate and give back to that community. You can also get some Wakelet swag. So we have plenty of hoodies and t-shirts, and if you have any interest in that, that's definitely a perk. But yes, essentially our way to support educators and students more so now as well, just to make sure that you're getting as much value out of the platform as possible. We've got webinars, we've got Twitter chats. There's no end to the engagement activities that we do. So definitely tap into that. If you search community.wakelet.com, you can send an application through to be part of it, and that's also completely free. You can see that there's multiple tiers, so you can be a community member, get involved in conversations, but then if you progress to become a community leader and then ambassador is that top level, that's when you can kind of have a real connection with the company and with the team, and then present Wakelet, share Wakelet. So if you are tech coaches and are looking for a platform to share with your team, the community is definitely there to support you in doing that and there to reward you in doing that as well. And then of course, getting involved with events and meeting us at conferences. Maybe some are regulars at ISTE or something similar, but we're always really excited to meet people. And then the student ambassador program as well is essentially the same, but for students, and it's a series of exercises that the students participate in on Wakelet, and that's very much focused on the 5 C's model. So that's all within that community element as well. You can access that through the community. But if there's any takeaway besides from starting to use Wakelet from today's session, I hope it is an interest in joining the community. But like I mentioned, also sign up to Wakelet. It's completely free to set up that account, and you have multiple single sign-on options. So once you sign up, you can immediately start creating something, and then it's then very easy to share that as well. But that wraps up the presentation. And unless there are any questions or requests while I'm here, I believe there's maybe 5 more minutes that I can take any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. I'll just stay quiet in the background while you do that.
Sure. I'm going to paste the community page.
Can I create a video using Wakelet? Or do I have to create it using some other kind of application and then post it? Because I'm trying to look for a tool where I can videotape myself and then post it so that students who are having problems with creating or doing their math assignment, they can go back and view my video of the explanation. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, yes. So I think the closest we have for that is Flip. So Microsoft Flip, if you're using that. You can access Flip from within Wakelet if you tap on that integrations drop down. And then you can film an instructional video, and then you can actually reference the other content that's in the collection. So if you want to say, read this article, look at that website, watch that YouTube video, and then add your thoughts and create an exit ticket based on that instruction. We've seen that especially a lot during during the lockdown phase. Was the instructional video was also a hello, how are you at the top of that collection. So that lesson plan was much more you know, much more personal. So I'd recommend Flip, but we also have that integration with Adobe Express. I'm not sure if you can self-record on Adobe. You might just be able to kind of create video generally, but I think that's definitely the closest thing. But I will say that video recording functionality is definitely something that we've done a lot of research into. So if we were able to house that ourselves on the platform, hopefully before too long, you know, we won't have to use a separate app. I'm also going to paste our templates page into the chat as well. So I think someone did mention newsletter in the chat. And while I don't think I have time to showcase exactly a newsletter, if you go onto that templates page, there's a lot of options for exploring, and there's a whole section dedicated to newsletters, I believe. It's essentially the same process, really. Instead of, you know, the title of the collection could be weekly newsletter for 5th grade, and then, you know, updates about what's happening in the classroom, what's happening in the school, upcoming events, key pieces of content like videos or student work, you know, whatever that is. You're then able to share that newsletter really easily with the school community, but also with parents. So, you know, something we always say is that Wakelet connects the classroom with home, and that the content is, you know, available, you know, in the school environment, but also for the parents as well. But in terms of creating a newsletter, it's, you know, it's very much up to your own creativity to decide how that looks. It could include a video, of like an overview of yourself, kind of giving an update inside a video, or if it's, you know, in text or in images or links to something else, links to your school or district's website. It's very much open to how you want it to be. But if you are looking for some structure to get started with, that templates page is a good place to start. Okay, any more questions before we wrap up? What I will say is Amy's presentation about portfolio specifically is starting probably within the next 5 minutes. So highly recommend you jump on to that one, because that will continue this presentation and lead it into how it's specifically really powerful for portfolios. But if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to just say thanks for having me. It was good to connect with you all, good to present Wakelet, and, you know, please do start using it, even if it's just for something casual. And always feel free to get in touch with us on Twitter or through joining the community. If you join the community, you can connect with us as well. But yeah, thanks very much.